Hello and welcome to Newsmakers on CHCH Podcast. I'm Louie Bucko. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by the Mayor of Niagara Falls, the longtime Mayor of Niagara Falls, Jim Diodati. And let's start there. This is now 14 years you've been serving as the Mayor of Niagara Falls. What's that? That's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long
time. It just shows how desperate people are in Niagara Falls, I guess. No, you know what I got to say? I love my job. I jump out of bed to do it, and if I could, I would do it for free. Like, I actually feel that passionate about the city and our opportunities, and I always thought we could be so much more. And sometimes good is the enemy of great, because when you're good, you can become good enough and complacent. And I always thought we left money on the table. There's much more opportunity in the city. So anyway, I put a 10-year plan together. And I keep adding on to the plan because I'm one of those like OCD. I can't stop. I want to keep a hospital, the airport, university. Like, what else can we do? A hospice. Like, I just want to keep adding to what we have.
Well, because you mentioned, in 2018 you were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. You thought about it. You ran the city through the pandemic, and there was some trepidation almost of whether you were going to seek a fourth term. What kind of made you decide that the city still needed you in charge?
And that's a great question, and I ask myself all the time, am I still jumping out of bed to do it? Do I still love it? Is my gas tank still full? Do I've got a good council and good staff? And the answer to all these was absolutely yeah. I mean, I think I can't see myself doing something that I could be so effective with so many great people, and we really are. I mean, we're doing things people said you have no business doing, like you don't get to do this and this and this and this, and I said, no, well, why not? Who said there's a rule and a limit to what you can get for your city? And so we keep pushing more, and the other thing is challenges are opportunities as well. Sometimes it's a way of hiding an opportunity, and I never think of my cancer as a curse or a bad thing. I think of it as a bit of a blessing, because it slowed me down, made me more grateful for things I maybe took for granted before, my kids and people around me, and it just gave me time to sit on the couch and convalesce and think about, I'm really blessed. I really am. And I just thought, I reflected on it, I meditated on it, I prayed on it. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do? And I've had some really good opportunities, but this has been the most amazing dream come true. I love what I do.
And that's the other thing, is that when you look at, this Mayor of Niagara Falls, a lot of people have used it to springboard into something provincial or federal, and I, sitting here across from you, knowing you, having worked in Niagara and news, I don't doubt that if you did decide to do that, provincially, federally, that you would have the support in Niagara Falls, but that never really has that. Is there any part of a higher office that's called to you?
Not really, and I've had opportunities, if I wanted to pursue that. But my mother said something to me a long time ago. So early on, number one was never forget where you came from. So always stay humble. And the other thing my mom said that resonated with me was grow where you're planted. And that one always stuck with me. And nothing against other levels of government. I love this level because you're the closest to the people. It's the most organic level where you're shopping with the people and you're always in town. You don't have to go to Toronto or to Ottawa. You're right here amongst the people you represent, that you work for. And I don't know, there's something about that, being totally in the mix with the people. I don't know, I find that to be really appealing. I know some people, they're afraid of it, they're intimidated by it, but I'm really drawn to it.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Yeah,
because people have opinions. People are going to love what's going on, but also people are going to sometimes want to confront you. And like you said, because you are so accessible, it feels like it's kind of a two-sided coin on that one.
You're 100% right. And everyone's got opinions. And COVID definitely brought out, I think, the worst in a lot of people. And, and there's people out there suffering. And a lot of the time, they take their pain out on someone else. And a lot of the time, it says more about them than it says about you. But definitely, COVID made a real challenging time for people. And then, there's some people who are just negative in general. And social media has changed the world, where before you'd filter your thoughts. Not today. Today, if you've got a thought, does good, bad, negative, or otherwise, put it out for the world to see. And it's just like we hang our dirty laundry all the time. I joke, some people are so negative they would develop in a dark room, but the fact is, you got to take the good with the bad. And 80% of the people are amazing, and you got that other group that you got to deal with. They're part of the group too, and you represent everybody.
Yeah. Bubs and I were talking about that yesterday on his show, just social media in general, and because you are so go out there, I'm sure I can imagine that you do get, you know, a lot of it. How have you learned to tune out the negative, but also, you know, within that negative, I'm sure there might be some constructive criticism moved in there. How do you filter that?
So as long as they're constructive, I don't have any problem with criticism at all. It makes me better. And I mean, if something's wrong, I got to fix it. There's no question. I don't think I've got all the answers. All I ask people is, if you've got a better idea, let's hear it. Don't just throw stones. What's your idea?
Yeah.
You know, and if you got a better idea, I'll follow you. And in terms of what people say and what they post, but there is a line, and I drew the line during COVID, and I said there's a line of respect. And you can disagree, but you can't disrespect, because if you disrespect those, I'll take the post down, I'll block the person. It's a privilege, not a right, to be there, and I want to hear all opinions, but not when they are disrespectful to anybody. So that's the one thing I do draw the line there. And if you'll notice, I leave criticism up there. I think it's fair. I mean, I'm in the spotlight, the public spotlight, and if I'm doing something you don't like, then tell me, but make sure you back it up with what you think I should be doing.
You mentioned some of the big projects happening in Niagara Falls, and we're going to try and get to a lot of them, but obviously the biggest thing about the falls, and having driven through, you know, the parkway and seeing the different parts of you know, just where everybody populates really along the parkway. It's not just the falls, it's not just the base. There really is a lot of green space around the Niagara River, but the tourism season kind of had an early start with the eclipse. Any regret with that million-person number?
No, because that number didn't come from me. That number came from a major U.S. documentary company that covers these, and they said expect 8 to 9 times the biggest crowd you ever had, which we knew in 2012 was Nick Walenda, where we had 150,000 people. The part that I was a little disappointed was when the region unilaterally declared a state of emergency. So what that did was that scared people away significantly, because I would ask you or anybody that's watching this, would you go to an area if you knew there was a state of emergency? Would you take your family there? No, you wouldn't. So people realized, and I did all that, but I'll tell you, I was very disappointed because it definitely kept the crowds down where we only had a couple 100,000. But the upside to the downside is that it gave us unbelievable international media coverage. I was on Al Jazeera, CNN, Fox, News
NBC
Nation.
Nightly News, my parents said they saw you there with Lester Holt and all that,
BBC. And so here's what I said. Okay, short term, we didn't get the crowds we were anticipating. That scared people away, no question about it. But on the upside, we got so much exposure, and we're doing the analytics right now to see the value of that, that I believe, because since COVID, domestic tourism has returned, but international has lagged behind. And it usually makes up about 50% of the revenue. Well, now I think this is going to be, because people from farther away plan further in advance, but when they do come, they stay longer and they spend more. And I think that outreach is going to bring more international visitors. And you know what's funny? People said everyone knows Niagara Falls, and that's true. I've been all over. Everyone knows Niagara Falls, but it's not enough to be known, because if it was, McDonald's and Coke wouldn't advertise anymore. You need to be talked about. And that took us from the back burner to the front burner. We're part of the conversations all over the world. I think that's going to result, the net gain is going to be more international visitation.
You and I were just talking about some of the construction projects going on. Obviously, you know, the Ferry Street project, necessary, that being kind of the end of Lundy's Lane, Highway 20 there. But it is causing some headaches. I was driving down there, Stanley. That intersection is usually a pretty tough intersection anyway. What's your advice to residents mentally preparing for another tourist season? We know how important the tourism industry is to Niagara, Ontario, especially Niagara Falls, but what's your advice to residents as they prepare for another tourist season?
I think the main thing is, first of all, you have to accept that you live in a tourist mecca. You live in the #1 leisure destination in the country, one of the most famous addresses in the world. Yeah, that you have to accept. And with hosting one of the great natural wonders of the world comes lots of people, millions of people. That we have to accept. And treat our guests like you would if they were coming to your house. I mean, just remember, be patient. Just think, when you're on holiday and you go to your favorite destination, how do you want to be greeted by the locals? And just know they're on vacation, they're excited, they're with their family. We just got to be patient. You know, they don't know you can turn right on a red light. Maybe they don't know certain things that we know about. And I just ask people, just be patient with them. I mean, they bring billions of dollars into our economy, and they're very important. We just need to be patient. And they're just like us. They're trying to figure it out. They're confused. They don't know what they're doing. They're looking to have, and we just want them to say, you know what? And this is what I do find with all of our guests that visit. I had a big group from Romania here yesterday, a group from China. They love Canada. They love Canadians. And when people boil down and dig down further, they love Niagarans. They love Niagara. And what's not to love? So what we love, let's share it. Let's let them enjoy it as well, and let them take away just happy memories and good thoughts about what we are.
Speaking of tourism, Marineland obviously is opening under different conditions this year. They're in a change of ownership. That's a prime piece of property in Niagara Falls when you look at where it is situated to the Parkway, just the potential for a lot of expansion. What would you like to see happen at Marineland?
Well, I definitely want to make sure it doesn't turn into a subdivision. Definitely want to see them get away from the animals and see them turned into a year-round tourist destination, an attractor. And they've got enough acreage there. They got upwards of 800 acres. That could be 3 Magic Kingdoms. When you think about the massive size, and I can tell you we've had interest from around the world, different theme parks from all over the world. I think we got the opportunity that it could be many things. It could be like a mega attraction in that area. And you don't ever want to lose it to residential and turn it into Marineland subdivision, because you'll never get that kind of parcel of land, prime tourist core, ever again. Once it's built, it's gone. So we just want to make sure that it ends up in the hands of an attractor, someone that's going to entertain people, maybe a Canada's Wonderland, this kind of a mix where everybody can go and have a good time.
So you wouldn't want to see any residential in that area at all?
No. I mean, maybe a little bit of high density around the outside.
We've seen Thundering Waters. They've thrown a couple of pitches. There was the conglomerate a few years ago that sort of fell apart. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for development in that part of town. You think that should remain a tourist business sector?
We've had 3 urban boundary expansions in the city, so we have no shortage of land for more housing. And that area, of course, we could have sold it within the first day if we allowed it to be residential. We've had all the big Toronto developers in there, but we told them emphatic, not a chance. That is too prime, too pristine for tourist business. And you got one falls and you got one falls view area, and you don't want to build. We've got a lot of areas for housing. That's not the right area.
All right. Let's talk about more areas for housing. South Niagara Hospital. A lot of development opportunities around there, I would assume. But this South Niagara Hospital, would you consider this to be one of the, if not the legacy project of your time as mayor?
Yeah, absolutely it would be. Our hospital was built in 1958, and this is a $3.6 billion capital project. It's the province's biggest capital project in Niagara. And number one, when you ask anybody in a survey, number one important thing is health. Their health and their health care. And when you don't have the health care that you deserve, people get antsy. This is going to give us that. It's going to deliver. And yes, it's just a building, but this building with the newest and latest equipment will attract the best, brightest, and best minds, which will lead to the best health care. So it's part of the building block of building better health care. So having that in a centralized place that can service a lot of Niagara. I know the debate is, is it Niagara, is it Niagara Falls? Doesn't matter. I mean, I spent a month at the St. Catharines Hospital with my own health issues, and it didn't really matter. The fact was, it was close by in Niagara, and the same with this hospital. So I'm so excited as you drive by. There's 4 cranes in the area, and it was a dream. And early on, I remember when I campaigned 14 years ago, that was one of the points. I put together a 10-year business plan, and it's funny because usually politicians do 4-year business plans to get reelected, and I knew one like this was going to go beyond one term. I was honest. I was like, this is part of a 10-year plan. Same with the university, same with the GO, same with some other things. They take time and successive governments. So luckily, we got the support. The people believed in us, and now the reward is you're going to have a world-class hospital center of excellence, and that's going to regentrify the area. It's going to attract some great doctors, specialists. There's going to be clinics. It's going to, and they're talking about maybe medical school. So it's going to bring in a lot of very cool things.
And we've seen the explosion of development, basically from the old Niagara Square right up until, and I'm sure that'll continue for sure. Because I got some friends down in the St. Michael's neighborhood. My family used to live down there as well. So that's South Niagara Hospital would be incredible. You mentioned the university. Obviously, a stranger time just because, you know, international students, there's talks of caps of international students. You had mentioned that this is going to be a largely international student-driven center. What's the latest on that? Have you welcomed students? When are you set to welcome students? What's the latest on the university?
Yeah, we just had, I just had 2 international educational conferences that were in Niagara Falls. We have agents from all over the world, and they're so excited because the brand of Niagara Falls, it's like the Coca-Cola of municipalities. And it's funny because when this, I was looking for years, we went to many countries trying to find, we knew how important education was. So let me step back. I went to Pittsburgh a number of years ago, about 10 years ago, and I met with Mayor Peduto at the time. And they, in Pittsburgh, went from Rust Belt to Renaissance. And I said, how did you do it? And he goes, well, it was hard. Everyone said we should open up the steel mills, but we knew that wasn't the direction we were going. He said we did it with 2 things, education and healthcare. So that planted a seed in my mind. So when you look, we've got the healthcare, we've got the hospital, and we've got the university, but I knew our advantage. We tried to get Brock, we tried to get local, it just didn't work. I called every major post-secondary educational institution in Ontario, every one of them, that had a similar aligned strategic plan, and we finally found this international group. Now, GLUS, Global University Systems, they've got 3 medical schools in the Caribbean. They've got one of the oldest law schools in London, England. They've got engineering schools in India, fashion schools, business schools. They're in Vancouver, University of Canada West. So they're a big presence. They're a big force. So when we met them, we were so excited because we knew it was a way to attract and retain youth in our downtown, revitalize, regentrify, and rejuvenate the downtown right next to the GO train station. So, and you know, when you go up 6 stories in the downtown where they're going to build residences, you got a view of the falls, and you look the other way, you can see Toronto. So you think about this when you're on a patio, one of your porches or one of your balconies, and you're showing your phone, hey mom, that's the mist, that's the falls that you're seeing. So we're going to have, right now we got about 50, 60 students with the first cohort. By this fall, we're going to have 2,000. Within 5 years, we're going to have 10,000. And they'll max out around 15,000. They're going to build residences, academic space, and it's going to bring in these bright minds. The other interesting, surprising thing is how many domestic kids are applying to go there. We're not affected by Minister Miller's caps right now because they're graduate programs. They're not undergraduate. And the other thing that makes us different from Brock, we're not looking to duplicate what's already out there. This is emerging technologies. They're going to teach these kids for jobs that maybe haven't even been created yet. So data, digital, artificial intelligence, and we're working with groups like MIT. We were down in Boston with MIT, with Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, with Pitt. So some of these higher level that want to be a part of what we're doing in our downtown, and with our innovation hub, which is going to be part of the whole mix.
I want to finish, start with tourism, I want to finish there as well. This one kind of might be more of a concern, but the Great Canadian Casino at Woodbine opened, brand new theater, similar size to the brand new OLG stage, which I should mention I've been to for a couple of shows. Just a fantastic facility that they have there at the casino. But any concern over the Great Canadian Casino and how do you keep people coming back to the falls?
Well, absolutely, there's a concern. I mean, it's a big, beautiful casino, and for those that go pick a location based on convenience, that's much more convenient in the GTA than coming all the way to Niagara. If you're looking for an experience, you can't compete with Niagara Falls. You just can't. I mean, nothing against Woodbine, but Niagara offers some, I always say, the buffet of fun and excitement. We have everything here. I mean, everything. And our theater that you mentioned, the OLG stage, and we still have the Avalon Theater. Avalon's 1,500, 5,000 in the OLG stage. The OLG stage is ranked #1 for its size in North America for best stages. Not one seat is more than 150 feet from the stage. It's got sawtooth seating and offsetting so that nobody's big head is blocking your view. And the acoustics and sightlines are designed in such a way that it's just as exciting for the performer as it is for the spectator. So what a place to see a show. As a matter of fact, Canada's Got Talent has got their finals there. Yeah. So it's a great place.
Tonight, the $1 million.
$1 million. Yeah. That's why I say, my gosh, like there's magic coming to a place like Niagara. We're a destination. The Woodbine's a convenience. So, but yeah, does it definitely take some off the top? Yeah, it hurts for sure. But we got to keep innovating, giving better customer service, and we got to be unique and create a different offering.
Real quick, when is All Day Go coming to Niagara Falls?
It's around the corner.
Okay.
I can tell you. I talked
next announcement. I mean, because every time we get these GO Train announcements, I'm always waiting.
I know.
For that Niagara Falls. Milton, all day go. You know, all these other ones. When
We're next. We're next. I know it'll be the Minister of Transportation will be Prabmeet Sarkaria, and I've been on him, and I've been on Phil Verster as well. A couple of brilliant guys that know what they're doing, and I get it. There's a time and a place. It's coming though, because our numbers 2 years ago, our jump and go ridership was 370%. This past year was 67% growth. I mean, and during the eclipse, we had 2,000 per train. Well, you see them getting off with their bicycles, their strollers, their suitcases. I mean, it's what a great way, and to avoid the traffic on the QEW. I mean, we're working on so many.
Because that is an issue. I mean, like, especially on weekends. And last year, you were successful in lobbying the provincial government. Like, hey, this Skyway closure is really screwing us up here. Because the traffic, especially on weekends, could be a reason. Again, you mentioned convenience. That could be a reason enough. Is that something? Again, is that the push for all day go?
100%. And I can tell you, every time I go to a Blue Jay game or a hockey game, I always take the go. I typically go to Burlington and jump on, right?
Sure.
Because it's more regular, and I don't want to miss the last train. But I can tell you, there's so many people that want, because really the heavy terminus is going to be Toronto and Niagara Falls. And I can tell you, Niagara Falls, New York, they love the GO train because they use it. They'll take the Amtrak over and take the GO to Toronto. The benefits of that, and I'll tell you the other thing, the unrealized potential is our airport. When I tell people our airport, they go, we have an airport? Say, yeah, it's owned by Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, and Niagara on the Lake. We're the biggest population in Canada without regular daily scheduled flights. More than 2 million people pass our airport to fly to Niagara Falls, New York, or Buffalo. I can tell you, I'm working with the province right now on a plan to turn that around. And can you imagine when you can fly from there to go to Florida or to Montreal or Vancouver right out of our airport? Those are the things we're working on right now.
Mayor Jim, a lot we hit there, so thank you for making the time.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
My thanks to Mayor Jim Diodati for joining me, and my thanks to you as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to CHCH Podcast so you never miss an episode of this show or any of the other great shows we have for you. My thanks to Laura Brody for directing today's show, and Brent Bishop as well. Thanks for all the work that you did, and Katie as well. Everybody in there, Julia, everybody in the control room. Thank you from all of us here. Make sure you like and subscribe once more to CHCH Podcast, or go to chch.com/podcast for more. From all of us here at CHCH, I'm Louie Bucko. Have a great day.